How's it going, Zach?
Dude, what the fuck is going on, man? You're live on the fucking Zach Moonshine Show right now. How you doing?
Alright, I'm doing good. Chilling with my cats and drinking an espresso.
I just had to kick my cat out of the room, man. He was about to knock over the fucking Wi-Fi tower.
Alright,
Yeah, wouldn't have been good for the fucking radio stream, man.
No,
but
I can see how that would have put a crimp in things.
Yeah. I seen him out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, whoa, dude, not right now, man. Not a good time. So, fucking Alex, dude, what the fuck is going on right now in the world of Temple of Void, man?
A lot's going on, and I guess a lot is about to go on in the land of Temple of Void. We've been laying low for a little while now, as we wait for the new record to come out. So we haven't really been playing a lot. We've just been waiting for that to drop. It comes out next week. So with the release of our second record on Shadow Kingdom and Hell's Headbangers, we're hoping that that's going to, I guess, take us to the next level and put us in a lot of people's, mind's eye, and just put us at the forefront of a lot of things going on right now. We'd like to go to Europe next year, so we're kind of setting the groundwork for that. And just looking forward to, the fans' reactions and just what's going to come of it once it drops next week.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, judging by what I just heard a few minutes ago when we were jamming it, man, holy fucking shit, dude. Fucking, yeah, if people are not fucking tearing their fucking necks apart at that shit, I don't know what the fuck, man. Yeah, it's fucking heavy as fuck, man. How the fuck do you guys get such a heavy fucking guitar tone, man?
That's what's actually cool about the guy that we record with. He doesn't quote unquote dial things in. We show up, he mics our stuff, and we just let it rip. So I play through a Mesa dual rectifier and an orange TH100. So what you hear on there is essentially both of my amps blended, but without any wizardry or any, magic happening behind the scenes. It's just Les Pauls, heavy amps, and I play through X2N pickups, which are super hot pickups. So it's just, and we play in drop C, which makes things sound heavy, but it's natural. So essentially what you hear on the record is what you would hear live, because I've played through both amps live. I don't know. He knows how to capture what we do really well, so we like going back to him.
I was gonna say, listening to it, you definitely feel like you're in the room. Like I feel like I'm in the room with you guys, standing right in front of the amps, just hearing it.
Good. Yeah, it doesn't have an artificial. We don't play the click tracks. We don't do that live. We don't do that in the studio. We want it to sound. You have to strike a balance between something sounding produced and big, and articulate and everything, and sounding raw. I don't want it to really just swing too raw, because then it can sound thin and it can sound underproduced or muddy. But you don't want it to be overproduced, because then it's just not natural, and it isn't who we are. We only spend a few days in the studio. We crank it out, and it is what it is. It's a good statement. It captures what we did at that time and who we are, and yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. So for people out there, man, how long have you guys been doing this, and exactly how did it get started?
Sure. We probably started in late 2012, and I used to train. The story is, I used to train in Krav Maga with my other band. It was kind of cool. We'd have band practice once a week, and we train in Krav Maga, which is, for those listeners who don't know, it's a fighting system. It's not a martial art, but it borrows from a lot of different martial arts. So we train, and one day our friend brought over this dude named Eric. I never met him before. Seemed like a cool cat, and we trained in Krav Maga that day. And I was like, "Hey, if you ever want to come work out at my house, you live in the area. You know, I like having a partner when I lift. So he came by, we started lifting together, and we just struck up a friendship, essentially, from lifting weights together in my basement. And then I knew that he was a good guitarist, and he had certain aspects about his style that rounded me out, essentially, like as two guitarists who worked really well together, because I had certain strong, dominant traits, and then where I was weak, I felt that he was stronger in those areas where I was weak. So it was a good sort of yin-yang thing. And I knew that we had to get together at some point. It was just a matter of finding when our schedules would align. So after a while, you know, he's like, yeah, we should do a band, blah, blah. I was like, okay, the time's right. So we started putting the feelers out, and I recruited my friend Brent on bass because he's always going to be my go-to guy whenever I do anything. We've been playing in bands together for probably close to 20 years. So we got him. It took us a while to get a drummer, but Eric knew this dude, Jason, who ended up becoming a great friend and a really great fit. So we got him on drums, and then it took us a little while and a few different people, some searching to get the right vocalist. But again, Eric knew a friend of a friend who was Mike Ardoti from Acid Witch, and he'd never sang before, not by himself. He'd always play guitar or play guitar and sing, but we're just lucky somehow. He was like, yeah, I'll give this a shot. So that really rounded out our lineup. And that was probably late 2012 when we solidified the original lineup. And then just recently, in the last few months, Eric moved on, and we replaced him with our good friend Don Durr. So we've only had one member change since 2012. So it's just pretty solid. We're all friends. You know, that has to come first.
Very cool, man. That's funny you mentioned the gym thing, dude, because I was watching a fucking review the other day on YouTube about the new album. The dude was saying something about how you guys all met in a gym, and he was like, I guess that's why they sound so fucking brutal, man. Fucking... And now, at the time when I was listening to it, it sounded kind of funny to me, but now what you're saying, dude, it makes sense, man. Fuck yeah, dude.
It's a bit of a telephone game. We didn't all just meet in the gym, but I met Eric at Krav Maga. I invited him over to lift, and he became my lifting partner, and that's how our friendship started. And then kind of from there, we all lift and enjoy the gym. We all lift with one another when we can, but actually all five of us have never been in the gym at the same time. So right on. I can't really confirm that that's how we all met, but that would be freaking sweet though if we all met at the gym. Hey, a bunch of meatheads, just like, let's start a band.
So as far as like your influences, man, what would you say? What got you into playing music in the first place? But also, what influences the band as a whole?
That's a good question, because my answer as to what got me into it is, I guess I can't really speak for the entire band on that, although most of us are in the same age, like Don, Brent, and I are all in their late 30s. So we started really, really getting into stuff in the early 90s. And for me, I have a huge soft spot for like the early to mid 90s music in general. So I think it was like super influential into my guitar playing, in a way where it kind of weaves itself into your DNA. So you're not really drawing upon it consciously. It's more there's, I think, subconscious rhythms and ideas that are just, you know, you're like a sponge when you're first getting into any kind of instrument. So whatever you hear at the beginning is a building block and the foundation for what you do moving forward. So a lot of metal that was coming out in metal and grunge too, that was coming out in the early to mid 90s was definitely influential. I know that we have a huge respect for Burn My Eyes from Machine Head.
Yeah.
I I don't care if it's cool or not. Burn My Eyes is that is definitely a highly influential record.
Yeah, I saw them on that tour, man.
Yeah, dude, I did not. That's Sepultura, like early Sepultura, definitely a big influence. I look back on it now and I can pick things out. I think that influenced me more than I realized at the time. Paradise Lost that's one that you can tell, right? That TOV is as a whole interested and influenced by Paradise Lost. But I think they also really influenced me as a young guitarist, I guess, is from the sense of melody and just the way that they blend the melancholy with the heaviness. So, other early, Pantera. I mean, when you just think about stuff that was happening in the early to mid-90s, a lot of that, I think, is just ingrained in our DNA. But as far as TOV, we're not trying to sound like Pantera or Machine Head. That's not where we're coming from. So I think if it would be, quote-unquote, for fans of, Asphyx, for sure. The Peaceful 3, definitely, all those guys. Catatonia, we blend a little bit of Catatonia and a little bit of early Opeth, I would say. Grave, Morbid Angel, Deicide, Cannibal Corpse. When we were writing for the new record, I was really trying to focus on a lot of that classic early American death metal, because we were figuring out what worked live for us, and we often realized that the songs that we would drop from our live sets would be the more doomier songs that we had. And it was just a natural thing because, we had more energy, we could headbang more for the, the more up-tempo, mid-tempo stuff, the more death-oriented stuff. So when we were writing for the new record, I was just listening to a ton of, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide, Asphyx, Grave, and just trying to have that seep into my writing a little bit more so that we brought more of the death this time around, because we knew we wanted to write a record that we would love playing start to finish live and not have any, any valleys. We want it to be all just ferocious and, just rip your head off and just bang your head from the beginning until the end. So our record came out a little bit different. Yeah, we're excited about the turn that it took.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, and you know what? The 90s was a great time for fucking metal, dude. I don't care what anybody says, dude. A lot of people, they're just fucking grunge and all that shit fucking killed fucking metal in the 90s. I don't see that at all, man. I think, obviously, Soundgarden, Nirvana, shit like that, it replaced Poison and fucking Warrant and all that stuff. It just kind of made it look silly. But, the whole time, dude, fucking all of us metalheads, we were still fucking blasting fucking Pantera and fucking Cannibal Corpse and fucking Suffocation. It was just getting heavier and heavier and heavier, I think, especially death metal really fucking took its root right there in the 90s area, because, and this album that you guys have right now, dude, this fucking stands up in my mind right up next to those fucking records, man. This is right there with You'll Never See fucking from fucking Grave, and, shit like that, man. That's what it makes me feel like.
That's awesome, because we never want to do anything that's a pastiche, that's just an obvious throwback. We're not copycats. That I would never want to do something that had the sort of nihilist logo, that kind of thing that was just a complete throwback and homage to that stuff. It's almost like I guess I just respect what you said about saying that it holds up with that kind of stuff, because I'd like to see it alongside that stuff, not as a derivative of that stuff.
Yeah.
We've had a few people that said it sounds like you unearthed this record, blew the cobwebs off, and it was like this lost record from 15 or 20 years ago. That is, a really cool compliment to say that it kind of has that vibe without sounding like a Xerox family of something, you know, second, third generation of that kind of stuff. So I think that's really cool that people pick up on that.
Hell yeah, man. As far as the band name, Temple of Void, how did you guys come up with that? Is there a story behind it?
Yeah, it's, on a certain level, it's intentionally ambiguous, but the story is Eric, our original other guitarist. He was reading The Watchmen, and I think there was a line when Doc Manhattan was contemplating the universe or something along these lines, and he talked about the Void Winds, and Eric was like, "Oh, we should call the band Void Winds." I was like, I don't think that really works. But we're kind of, you know, just kind of ruminating on Void Winds and, you know, space, and we wanted something that, again, we didn't want it to be like a nihilist clone or anything that was too throwback that pigeonholed you into something. So the idea was to come up with something that had enough room where we could take it, death, doom, whatever we wanted, without just making a, you know, Cannibal Corpse. I mean, it's a great name for what they are, but it has a very distinct image. We wanted something that would allow the listener or the viewer, in whichever case we're talking about, to arrive at their own conclusions. A little more mysterious, I guess, no branded. So anyway, he was talking about Void Winds, and one of our friends actually came up with the name Temple of Void. Like, okay, yeah, that's it. So it kind of means different things to different people in the band, but the genesis of it came from the Watchmen and this idea of we wanted it to be ambiguous so you could put your own meaning on it. So I think each one of us kind of has our own meaning to it.
Nice. Also got to ask you about Shadow Kingdom Records and Hell's Headbangers Records, man. How did you guys get hooked up with those guys, and what has that experience been like?
Tim contacted us via Facebook. You know, I mean, this is not the 90s anymore. So yeah, he hit us up on Facebook after our first record came out, which was on a couple smaller labels, and he was interested in in re-releasing it. And we were, you know, real stoked on that because we wanted to get it out to a wider audience. So it was really cool to have these early labels invest in us and take a chance on the band that only had a demo out. So Tim approached us and said he'd redo it, and then we signed a deal to do the next record. So yeah, I guess the first one must have done well enough where Hell's Headbangers were interested in investing on some level, so they joined forces to co-release the LP version. The CD and cassette are technically on SKR, and the LP is technically on SKR and Hell's Headbangers.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Hell's Headbangers Records, man. They're known for fucking having extremely fucking cool fucking packaging, man. Especially in the vinyl shit, dude. I've gotten a few records.
Yeah, we're definitely happy with that for sure. I think it came out nice. The vinyl looks cool. It sounds good. It's good quality vinyl. Everything about the packaging definitely came out really nice for the LP. And I like HHR because they're a label like DDR that when you just want to buy something, they have such good distros that you always look in those places first, you know, whenever you're going to buy stuff. So we knew it would be good from a profile perspective to be associated with those guys.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, they got a fucking discount fucking like bin thing on their website. I can't remember where, but I've gone there before and just fucking got records for fucking dirt cheap. All kinds of fucking weird shit that they'll have on there sometimes too. So yeah, it's definitely a cool place to be, man. And fucking Shadow Kingdom's fucking badass too, man. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, they have some good stuff coming out. Some of the stuff's a bit hit and miss because I mean both labels put out a lot of stuff. I don't like it all, you know, but they definitely have some cool stuff, like Hour 13, for instance, on Shadow Kingdom. They're really, really cool.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I dig those guys too, man. As far as your local scene, what can you tell people out there about it, man?
Oh, the Detroit's great. I was just talking to someone the other day about it, and I was thinking about the Danish scene and how you've got. It seems like it's a really small. I mean, this is conjecture. I don't know. I've never been there, but it seems like Undergang, Friendless, Hybridontia, Sulphurous. They're all that share the same members, and they seem to have a small, kind of incestuous scene as far as like band members go. But it's mighty essentially. They have a lot of really good bands coming out of a small area, and I think the same thing's true of Detroit. It's not a huge scene, especially considering the geography. I mean, the amount of people here in the suburbs and whatnot. But the people involved are in the underground scene are, super dedicated, and they play in a lot of cool bands and share a lot of members amongst those bands. It's a really cool place. Definitely, it's a good place for underground death metal and heavy metal especially.
Fuck yeah, man. I got some questions for you, Alex, from the chat room. Some people in here fucking tuned in right now. Gravehuffer, he's in another band. He wants to know, what made you guys want to be musicians?
That's, I guess on this one I can only answer for myself. It's probably a good question. I'm sure the rest of the guys were on the line or available to answer what made them want to be musicians. I guess I think back to being, 10 years old or whatever, and listening to the radio, getting into whatever. When you're that, 10, 11, 12, you have super wide tastes, and you're kind of narrowing down the stuff that, you're weeding stuff out. You start, you're listening to Poison and stuff like that or whatever, and then you see Iron Maiden on TV, and you're like, yeah, Maiden's pretty cool, and it's a difficult thing to say, like, what, I guess it must be, we can all understand on the same level why we're into music, right? I mean, the way that it makes us feel and what it does for us as human beings. So I guess the logical step for me at the time was to pick up the guitar and try and emulate the dudes that I was into at the time, like the Misfits. Danzig was like a huge influence, Iron Maiden, Metallica, Pearl Jam, Nirvana. Just really getting into music made me want to play it too. I don't know if there's no like highbrow or way of putting it other than you listen to it and you're like, yeah, I think I could do that. I want to learn how to do that too. That was cool.
And it just kind of pulls you in.
What's that?
It just kind of pulls you in.
Yeah, I mean that's probably you just should have said that. It just pulls you in. That's exactly what it does. And just remember, as a kid, like I grew up in Scotland, and I'd get Kerrang every week, and just check out all these bands in there, and that there was a show called Raw Power and Noisy Mothers that I would set my VCR to record at I think it was on at 3 a.m. or something like that. And the next day before school, I would, play it, and it was kind of like Headbangers Ball type thing, but it was an English version. So I'd, VCR the night before, and then before I went to school the next morning, I'd, fast forward through and see like a Carcass video or Morbid Angel video or, Deicide or whatever, and it was like this, it just sucked you in. I mean, like you said, it's like Lovecraft being pulled into a portal or something like that, it just sucks you into another dimension. You dive right in, feet first, and you just, you dig it, and it happens to all of us. That's why we're listening to this station. That's why we're talking right now.
Fuck yeah, man. Oh, a better question almost would be, how can you fucking listen to this shit and not get into it? How can you not be pulled into it and not want to be a part of it or somehow, Fuck
yeah, and it's the highest, I have another band, and when young dudes, I mean, like teenage, like, I don't know, 14-year-old dudes, like, oh, you're the first punk band I saw, or, you got me into punk. It's like, that means more than anything else,
Mm-hmm.
There's no review or there's no accolade that's the same as a dude saying, your band's my first tattoo, or you got me into punk. Like, dude, it gives me goosebumps. Like, that's freaking amazing,
Hell yeah, dude. Got another question from the chat. Metal Craig wants to know, what hard times have you guys been through as a band?
Oh, this is going to be Duff a Cro-Mags reference on us. What hard times have we been through as a band? I guess I'm hemming and hawing because of certain things that I, may or may not want to divulge on the radio. Some with any band you can have internal strife sometimes between members. There's anytime you get a bunch of strong-willed people together who are collaborating to produce something, you're going to butt heads at certain points, or dedication may wax or wane, depending on different things that are happening in different people's lives, and it's difficult to get 5 people always on the exact same page all the time. So there can be interband, difficulties from time to time. But it's always about friendship first, so we're in a really great spot now. Don is a killer addition to the band, and I really enjoy having him, by my side as the other guitarist and one of the other songwriters. So we feel really, really solid, and I guess I'd say I'm lucky to say we haven't really been through some really too much turbulence, to be honest. Dealing with record labels, I don't know, to be honest, that can also be a pain sometimes. So, yeah, but that's probably a disappointing answer. I know. There's nothing too.
Right on, man.
Too tough. More good times than bad. Otherwise, we would be doing it.
Next question comes from Megan Marie Michaels. She wants to know, what is your favorite horror movie and villain?
Ooh. You really need Mike Doty on the line for this. Mike is our vocalist, and he's an acid witch, and he has a VHS collection of horror movies that, if that's your thing, that would make your jaw drop. Myself, I'm a bit more old school, and I would go, if you would consider it horror, I would go with Psycho, to be honest. I'm a huge Hitchcock fan, so his psychological horror, to me, is more powerful than any, than Freddy or anything like that. I don't know, like, just the psychology behind Alfred Hitchcock, to me, can be pretty horrific. So I'd probably go with Psycho. And if I was going to do something newer, The Devil's Rejects, I would say, is, for me, the greatest modern horror film. I think that Rob Zombie makes terrible music, but I really enjoy him as a director. I think House of Thousand Corpses was a freaking phenomenal first movie, and then The Devil's Rejects, that's like his Pulp Fiction or Trainspotting. He's never going to do anything as amazing as that again. Because to me, that's psychological and it's visceral at the same time. It just destroys you. So,
fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to put any cult stuff out of the air. Sorry, that would be a Mike question.
She also wants to know, are you single or married?
Oh, married. Yeah, just had actually, speaking of Halloween and Devil's Rejects and Rob Zombie, we had our kid on Halloween last year. So that was pretty cool, having a Halloween baby.
Right on, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I want to throw out The Exorcist too. You know, as one of my all-time favorite. And Rosemary's Baby. So they're, again, all more on a psychological tip. Yeah, those would probably be my top ones.
Some good ones right there, man. Fuck yeah, dude. All right, man. Well, as far as your live show, what can you tell people like who have not seen you guys live when they come to see you guys live? What can they expect?
To be crushed, for sure. It's loud, and we're putting more money into lights and fog, and trying to just really command this stage and just control how we present ourselves more these days. So not be at the mercy of, you know, the particular club. If we can take some of the visuals into our own hands, then we can maintain consistency, you know, from club to club. So we have, it's actually Don, our guitarist. He was our lighting and fog guy before he joined on guitar. So we need a new lighting and fog person. But anyhow, heaviness. I mean, there's no pretense in what we do. We're just five dudes headbanging, turning it up, you know, and just trying to crush people. I mean, that's really, there's no costumes and, you know, there's no posturing. We're just, you know, dudes in jeans and sleeveless t-shirts just trying to crush things. So.
Fuck yeah, man. Got another question from the chat. Metal God wants to know if you guys could go into the studio and write and record with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh. So you mean other musicians?
Yeah, anybody.
Like, yeah, like, I wasn't sure if you meant like with studio, but just any old studio with any other musicians dead or alive. Whew. That's a tricky one. I think maybe John Carpenter would be a really good addition, because we like talking about atmosphere and controlling, you know, and controlling that aspect. If you listen to Terror and the Supernatural or Lords of Death, once it drops, you'll hear there's so, you know, keyboards and ambiance and different instruments kind of laced throughout the record, and that's important to us to conjure up that you really can't put your finger on it, you know, but when you're describing atmosphere to someone. But I think adding that layer of, you know, synths and whatever else just in the background subconsciously really helps build that atmosphere. So John Carpenter would be freaking fantastic. Or some of the dudes from like Kraftwerk or something. You know, that could be really interesting to work with those guys on that level. Yeah, so I think that's what I go with.
Hell yeah. When you mention John Carpenter and the atmosphere and stuff like that with the keyboards and the fucking synths doing that kind of shit, that makes me think about fucking Obituary's Cause of Death, man. That's one of my favorite records. And it's not just because all the songs on it, but I think a big part of it is all those little things that they did at the beginnings and endings of the songs where it carried you through this fucking, I don't know, man. It set the mood, you know, those fucking sound effects and shit that they did, man. Fucking, that shit's bad fucking ass, dude.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, it's not like I want to get all, you know, operatic and symphonic with, you know, crazy, like, black metal keyboards. It's not, it's more on the neurosis level, right, where it's something that permeates the sort of underlying DNA of the tracks, but it doesn't sit on top and never take center stage. Yeah. It's more like it's this background thing that's subconsciously moving you along into this different world, I think.
Fuck yeah, dude. Right on, man. Well, Alex, I'm about out of questions for you, man. Is there anything else you want to fucking add to let the people out there know?
Well, I mean, our second record comes out next week. I think next Friday. Lords of Death on Shadow Kingdom and House Headbangers. I guess we've been laying low this year as far as, you know, touring and shows. I think our only gig this year so far was that Maryland Death Fest. We did the pre-fest, and we've got our record release show coming up in September. But after that, once the record's out, we've had our release show, we're going to look to start playing some more shows at, you know, probably Midwest, East Coast, and then next year we'd like to get over to Europe. So I guess expect to see more of us. We had a bit of a chill year because I had my baby. We were writing and recording a record. But later, 2017 and certainly 2018 is going to see, you'll see POV on the radar a lot more. So watch out.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, before I let you go, I got to get you to make us a station tag. Cool?
Yeah.
All right, man. Whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Alex from Temple of Void, and you were listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
All right. Well, this is Alex from Temple of Void, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
Fuck yeah, dude. Got it, man. All right, well, thanks a lot for taking the time, Alex. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to blast some fucking Temple of Void and make these motherfuckers' ears bleed.
That's right.
All right, dude. Take it easy, man.
All right, Zach. Thanks so much.
Later, brother.
All right, peace.
There you heard it, folks. Fucking Temple of Void on the motherfucking Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation fucking Radio. I seriously hope you guys have fucking access to your fucking fingertips, and your fucking arms. Reach out to your volume knob right now and crank that motherfucker as loud as you fucking can. Put your speakers in your fucking windows. Put them in your front lawn. Put them wherever you can. If you're on a cell phone, blast that motherfucker.